Do you want other people to hold your baby? Do you want other people to kiss your baby? Do you want other people to touch your baby's hand? Do you want other people, when they hold your baby, to be able to just walk away with the baby and trust that the baby's going to be okay? You have to know what's comfortable for you. Another newborn tip that I have for dads is to focus on positive affirmations. So for the woman, after having a baby, a lot of times body image and confidence can take a hit. The body is just so different. The body has gone through so much, and she's gone through so much physically and emotionally that could leave her in a different place, and it doesn't even have to be to the extent where she has postpartum depression, but just in general, having such a drastic change can be something that can give her doubts or even just some slight reservations about personal image. So one of the things you can do here is positive affirmation, but let her know how beautiful she is. Let her know how powerful she was. Let her know how amazing she did. Just let her know the great things that she's done so she can be reminded of her true image, so she can be reminded of just how great she is, even if she's not feeling exactly her best. One of the things that I thought of this time around, just making sure that she felt good, was that I went out and I bought her some summer dresses. So it's summer where we're from, and I just thought to myself, what could I do to make her feel normal, where it's not just I had the baby and that's it. And I know my wife, I know she likes dresses, she loves shoes and things like that. So I thought to myself, why not get her some summer dresses that either she can wear and feel beautiful in, or it could be something that she may be able to say, at least this is something I can look forward to when I feel better, or when I'm ready to go out, I have something new to wear and something that I feel nice and pretty in. It can really take off a lot of that load and give a newness to her. And my wife was ecstatic, and she said she was really excited about that. So it's just something that came to my mind this time around, which I never thought about in the other pregnancies, but I think it ended up being a great decision. Again, I'll say here is that ultimately it's the thought that counts. You don't have to do exactly what I did, but if she can feel that you care and she can feel that you're trying to make her comfortable, I think that'll go a really long way. This next tip is one that I think works really well for guys. So this tip is to not be afraid to speak up. So in one area, at least for my wife and I, there are certain rules that we have when it comes to our baby. And it's something that we talk about ahead of time, and we talked about when we had our first child. Have that conversation and know what's okay for you guys with regard to your baby and other people. Do you want other people to hold your baby? Do you want other people to kiss your baby? Do you want other people to touch your baby's hand? Do you want other people, when they hold your baby, to be able to just walk away with the baby and trust that the baby's going to be okay? You have to know what's comfortable for you. When somebody is doing something that you're not comfortable with the baby, it doesn't have to be something that's life-threatening, but it's just something that maybe doesn't make you comfortable as a parent. Know that it's your right. This is, in fact, your baby. This is your child. So you have the ultimate say with the child. And don't be scared to say what is okay with you with regard to your child. I think, especially as a first-time parent, there can be that fear where you don't want to offend other people, but more than offending other people, it's really important to know what's comfortable and what's important to you. Because at the end of the day, you may not offend somebody, or you may not speak up, and ultimately you feel uncomfortable. You're going home upset. Maybe the two of you are arguing because someone's parent did something that you both don't agree with, but nobody spoke up, or whatever the case might be. So think of ways ahead of time that you can deal with it, that you can talk about it. And one of the things that my wife and I do is, when somebody wanting to even hold the baby, and the baby's maybe a week old, and we don't want people to hold the baby when the baby is that young yet, maybe we've decided we're not going to let people hold the baby until the baby's 3 weeks old, and that's our prerogative. So what we do is we just say up front, oh, you know what? We kind of decided, we kind of have this thing where we're not letting people hold the baby until the baby's 3 years old. So you kind of make it a we thing, right? We have this thing. Call us crazy, but we have this rule where we don't allow people to kiss the baby on the cheek. It's nothing personal, but we just, you can hold the baby, just don't kiss her on the lips. Just don't kiss her on the cheek. So just don't be afraid to speak up. This is an opportunity for you as a guy to, kind of step in and also be the protector of your family, of your wife, and of your baby, and say, hey, listen, we'd appreciate if you don't do this, or we'd appreciate if you not feed the baby food at 1 month old. Because different people do different things, and they think that because they did something with their child, that thing should be done with your child. It's really important to have a united front there. A lot of what you're going to find is that you're going to get a ton of advice and a ton of things that people think they can do or want to do because they've seen it done with another baby, or they've done it with their own babies. but it's important for them to know that this is not their baby. Okay, having said that, a lot of people say it takes a village to raise a kid, and it's a very old saying that a lot of people use. And usually people use it when they're trying to be nosy or do something outside of the will of the parents. And sometimes because they just actually want to help. But having said that, ultimately the responsibility of taking care of the kids falls on you and your partner, on the parents. Because ultimately, if anything happens to that baby, it's not going to be grandma who's responsible. It's not going to be your friend who's responsible or who has to deal with the consequences truly. Ultimately, it's going to be the parents who have to deal with the consequences. So that's a lot of times the way that I look at it. So the decisions that my wife and I make regarding our children are ultimately our decision, because ultimately we're the ones who have to live with those decisions. Now, we listen to advice. If we need advice, we ask for advice. And advice we take with a grain of salt, because everybody has their thing and everybody has something to say. If you don't have a village, I don't want you to feel bad. A lot of us, move around, live in places where our families don't live or where we don't have a huge support system. So I don't want you to feel bad that if you don't have a village, then you can't raise your kid. That's completely far from the truth, because ultimately, as long as the baby has their parents, they'll be fine. If you love the baby, you take care of the baby will be fine and will not suffer because they don't have a village. With my wife and I, ultimately, it's been us. It's the two of us. At the end of the day, the buck stops with us. So we find ways of getting it done, and that means that we lean on each other a lot more. So it's us and it's the world. And that can be a very beautiful thing, because it really forces you to rely on each other, to grow closer to each other, and to even strengthen that family unit even more. So don't feel bad if you don't have the village. And if you do, that's wonderful too. Take advantage of what you have. I will say that we've also been blessed. Everywhere that we've been, even though we haven't necessarily had our village with us, we've been blessed with people to come into our lives at the right times to do just what we needed to do, or to help us in exactly the ways that we needed help at any given time. So here's a tip for if you guys are getting annoyed at each other. It's very typical that when you're sleep deprived, when you're dealing with the new situation, the new stresses, your schedules are out of whack, that you might get annoyed with each other. So one of the things that I would suggest here is breaking the rhythm, breaking the monotony. Find things to do that you actually enjoy doing together. So for my wife and I, this may mean popping in a movie or renting a movie on Redbox or on Amazon Prime or Netflix. We'll rent the newest or latest movie, or a movie that we really wanted to see, and we watch a movie. We just escape and not think about our current situation and just kind of take the pressure off. Another thing that really helped, particularly with our first baby, was that when we found ourselves getting like snappy or things like that, we would go outside. We'd go for a walk or go to the park. It's amazing what some green therapy can do for the mind, for the psyche, and we just come back more even-keeled, more refreshed. Just being able to be out in nature, get fresh air, and change of scenery really makes a difference. So sometimes we just go out for a drive. That's something that we very typically do. We'll go for drives as soon as the baby can kind of handle it. We might even go for a short drive around the block or to a store nearby, just to pick up some ice cream or something, just to get out of the house, because being in that same scenery and environment and confined in that same space can have the effect of making you almost feel like you're losing your mind and you just can't see each other or tolerate each other anymore. Understand that that's the stressors of your environment, and know what to do to break up that environment and to negate those stressors so you can see it for what it really is. We just need to get out of this house. That's what it really is. Another great tip in this area is that you can go on a vacation. So for each of our kids so far, when the children are about 6 months, we take a vacation somewhere. So our first child, we went to Canada when the baby was 6 months. And we flew to Canada and we went walking and seeing the sights, and we wrapped our baby in the wrap, which you probably saw on the thumbnail for this video. And we just went, we just lived and did our thing. And we had a great time, and that really did do a lot to rejuvenate us. With our second child, we took a cruise to the Bahamas when our son was 6 months old. We had our daughter, who was 2 years old at the time, and our 6-month-old son. And now we had our son wrapped, and our daughter was walking and in a stroller, and we strolled through the Bahamas and took a cruise and enjoyed ourselves. And this really did help break the monotony. So that really works for us taking a vacation at about 6 months where we can just escape and kind of do something a little bit more normal, see other people, see other sights. Maybe that's something that you want to try doing. It doesn't even have to be something super expensive, but just finding a way to get away. So I don't know what we're going to do yet with this child, but when this child is about 6 months, we're going somewhere. Before I move on, quick tip here, the wrap that you see on the picture for this video, those wraps are life-saving. There's really something powerful about having the baby against your body, feeling your warmth and hearing your heartbeat, that keeps the baby calmer longer. So, I mean, we've been on these trips and the baby will stay asleep for a really long time and only wake up when she needs to eat or when he needs to eat, and then go right back into the wrap and be asleep. The other thing is that having the baby close to you allows you to carry that weight a lot more easily. If you just think about physics, when you keep something closer, it's easier to carry more weight versus when you would hold it out away from you. So those baby carriers, which add weight in themselves and then are away from you, are a lot more cumbersome and difficult and heavier to carry than if you just put the baby on your body. The other thing is, when you put the baby on your body, you've got your two hands that are free, so you can actually explore, do what you need to do, grab groceries and things like that. So I'm a big advocate of the baby wraps. And if you want some suggestions, I'm happy to give you some. There's the baby K-Tan, which I personally like, and many others as well. The last two newborn baby tips for dads that I have is for if you already have children, this is a tip for you. So one of the things that I think is important is to find things for the other kids to do. So coming up with activities for them to do that they don't get bored, especially if you're having to spend more time with the newborn. I set up paint projects, or I take them out to the park, or let them run outside and do things like that. And yes, we do use the TV to do some babysitting as well. I know a lot of people say we absolutely don't use the TV, but we do. And generally we try to use educational content, and we try to limit the time that our kids watch TV. And if we have a particularly strenuous or difficult day where our kids are just watching TV for a really long time on a particular day, then usually what that means is that the next day and the day after that, they know, and we'll say up front, like, this is a no TV day. You watched a lot of TV yesterday, so today you need to be able to just figure it out and just keep yourselves entertained and play with your toys. So that's kind of how we do it, and I can't lie and say that we don't use the TV, because a lot of times you just need to be able to cook that meal, or you just need to be able to wash those dishes, or just get a few minutes to do those things, where a TV is just invaluable, and it's really hard to get an alternative that will keep the kids occupied and busy for an extended period of time. Like if we give them a movie like Pets, we know that we have an hour where we're going to be able to get some things done, where I can mop and sweep or wash the dishes while she's doing something else or taking care of the baby. The last thing that I would say here is a really big one. How to get the kids that you already have to bond with your child. So a lot of times, people will ask us, is your daughter jealous of the newborn baby when we had our second baby? And now that we have our third baby, are your two kids jealous of the third baby? And we've never had that issue. And I think that that's not by chance. It's very intentional. And this is for many reasons. One, we just keep a family atmosphere and structure that is very inclusive and conducive to building good relationships. I really do believe that we're intentional about the relationships that we build in our home. But beyond that, I think that a big part of the whole jealousy thing is that before the child is here, we let our kids know that a baby is coming and your baby is coming. And they know that this is their baby. So when the baby comes, we don't stop them from touching the baby. We encourage them to touch the baby. We encourage them to talk to the baby. And we supervise them. I even go so far as to let my daughter hold the newborn baby with each of her siblings with help. So I'm still holding the baby, but she gets to hold the baby and feel like she can hold the baby. The other way to reduce the risk that your current child will be envious or jealous of the newborn baby is to involve your kids in the process of caring for the baby. The more involved they feel, the less they feel like this is someone that they should be jealous of. A lot of times the jealousy stems from being told, no, you can't touch the baby. No, don't touch the baby's things, or don't touch the baby's toys. Every time they're told no in regard to the baby, where they feel that separation, they'll start to be like, well, I don't like this baby, or feel more and more jealous. And I've seen it happen a ton of times. But what we do instead is we try to incorporate our children into the baby's life. So when it comes to a diaper change, we don't go get the diapers. If you have kids that can understand, have them go get the diapers for you, right? Have them throw away the diaper. It seems counterintuitive or silly, but they really do like to help and feel involved. Just like you as the mother and father go and get the diaper, go throw away the diaper, go get the baby's food, or if the baby is at the point where the baby needs a bottle and you have bottles in the fridge and they can handle that, have them take the bottle, or go get me some wipes, or anything that you can do to involve your kids in the taking care of the newborn baby will really help them feel bonded and connected. Even the words that you use really go a long way in helping them feel connected, in that this is our baby, right? This is your baby. It doesn't feel like, don't touch the baby, where the kid is kind of there and the baby's here. So they kind of feel that separation. Make it feel like a family environment, because it is a family environment and we all belong to each other because we're all part of the family union. Okay, I think that was a lot. More than I even thought I would say. I hope this wasn't too long, but I hope more than anything that you found something helpful here, or something that maybe made you think about something that you hadn't thought about before. And if you found something helpful in this video, I always encourage you to share it with other people or post it on your social media, because there are people having babies all the time. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so, and I will see you next time on Renaissance Life TV. Cheers.